Hey, what's up guys? It's Rob again. Welcome back to the channel. For those of you guys that are new here, well, this channel is pretty much just me discussing some ideas and topics and just knowledge that I learned throughout the years and from my personal experiences, and in the hopes that I can potentially help one of you guys and help you achieve your goals or whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. But today I want to talk about something that I feel like is kind of slept on a little bit, and this is just the idea that the foods that you're consuming could be the reason why you're stuck where you are in your current life right now, whether it be in a negative place or positive. Now, what I mean exactly by that. So as you guys are aware, the thoughts that you think have a huge impact in your life, because essentially whatever you think about, you slowly manifest over time. So if you're constantly thinking negative, or if you're constantly thinking positive, you're eventually gonna create that in your current reality. So what does that have to do with food? So one thing that I discovered during my times knocking door and being in sales pretty much is that the days or the weeks that I would do my worst were the ones where I was not on top of my diet. Now, I don't mean like a diet like, oh, keto, whatever, or anything like that. No, what I mean is like, it was the days where I was just not being disciplined at all and just consuming whatever I wanted, whether it would be like junk foods, so like burgers, tacos, whatever, just your traditional junk foods. And what would happen is I would start experiencing like anxiety. I would start having thoughts of like, depression and depressional thoughts. My thoughts would be clouded. Like I would struggle with, saying things clearly. And physically, I will also be lacking because I feel like, sluggish, my joints will hurt. I just wouldn't feel like in peak shape. And then what I realized is that once I fixed this, once I started like eating like, cleaner diets where I had more leafy greens, my healthier fats like avocados and nuts, and just like probiotics, I noticed that my thoughts would essentially change. Like I would start thinking more positive. I'll be more motivated. I would be more disciplined. I would be more like clear with my thoughts. And like obviously when you have clear thoughts, you have clear words. And I was like, that's a little strange. Because once that happens, my performance started improving. Like I started selling more, I started like just being happier, more positive with the team, and I was just going out there and just performing. So I started thinking like, okay, something's up. So then that led me to start researching like how does diet actually affect you. And what I came to discover is that essentially you have obviously your brain and your central nervous system, but you also have your microbiome. So your gut, like your gut bacteria. And it's been proven that you have just as much, if not more, nerve endings in your gut than you do your actual brain. Now, I don't want to get into crazy details in regards to like the science behind all this, because I'm not a scientist. I'm just explaining to you guys kind of the stuff that I learned. But essentially, what happens is that when you eat foods that are like highly inflammatory, so like alcohol, junk food, carbs, like the white bread, the sugars, that kind of stuff, what happens is this whatever's in your stomach translates to your brain because they're connected through nerve endings. So when you start experiencing the effects of the food that you're eating, you're gonna start noticing you're more anxious, you're more depressed, you're more like angry, like you just have these negative thoughts. And I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. So I started diving deeper and deeper, and it turns out that the way you fix this is obviously with a cleaner diet. And it all started making sense to me, because you know how everyone's always preaching like, hey, you are what you eat? Well, I think I finally understand that, because if you're constantly eating like these low quality foods, well, guess what? You're gonna be a low quality person. And if you start eating high quality foods, well, you're a high quality person. Because once you start eating these foods and you start thinking better thoughts, you're gonna start building momentum in your life. And when you start building momentum, you start taking more action. And as you guys know, in this reality, like it's all about taking action. And well, it's a combination of like thinking and action, but in general, you can't create without action. So once you start having these positive thoughts, it translates to your actions. And then before you know it, you start actually doing the things that you said you were gonna do, and you start building confidence. And when you start building confidence, it literally just becomes a flywheel where you're just like, have so much momentum that you're literally unstoppable. And it all starts with what you're putting in your mouth. So to make this video pretty much like a little bit quicker, like just get to the point, the food you eat help create the thoughts that come into your mind, and the thoughts that you have in your mind help create the reality that you live. So just keep that in mind, guys. Like next time you're dealing with like some kind of anxiety, or just like your thoughts aren't clear, or you're just not overall like in a happy state of being, most likely is because of what you're eating. So if you're eating a bunch of junk food, if you're eating like unhealthy, sugary stuff, well, that's the reason. Now, if you guys are like taking medication, or you're speaking with like a psychologist, or just like, you know, in the medical world, obviously do what you gotta do. I'm not a medical professional. This is just stuff that I discovered in my life that has helped me. But you guys might want to do some research and kind of dive deeper into that topic, because your microbiome is extremely important. And I've been discovering that that's kind of like what shapes literally your entire mood. So hopefully this video kind of like, you know, enlightens you guys a little bit and helps you out in terms of like that aspect. If you have any questions and you want to like, you know, ask me more, don't be afraid to comment. I'm always gonna be able, you know, always willing to help you guys out and kind of give you some advice from what I experienced. And if any of you guys have actually dealt with that, where like you ate junk food for like a week or something, and then you felt like bad, and then you did the transition to like a cleaner diet and you felt better, comment down below and tell me like how that made you feel. Like, what was your experience? But other than that, guys, if you liked the video, comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.